Mindfulness is the practice of paying deliberate, non-judgmental attention to the present moment. Its roots lie deep in Buddhist traditions. Traditionally, practices like meditation and mindful breathing have been central to Buddhist training. Leaders such as the Dalai Lama have helped modernize Buddhism, emphasizing compassion and secular ethics. Today, mindfulness is widely adapted as a secular practice for well-being and ethical living. There's an old Persian tale that reminds us, "This too shall pass." A wise inscription was made on a ring to comfort a troubled king. Consider the seasons of a tree, each stage changes, reminding us of life's transience. Like water over stones, everything flows and nothing remains the same. At the very core of our being, a fundamental principle governs our growth. The brain rewards effort. When we voluntarily push ourselves through challenges, whether mental or physical, our brain initiates a remarkable cascade of neurochemical events. It releases dopamine, a powerful neurotransmitter often misunderstood as merely the molecule of pleasure. In reality, dopamine is far more nuanced. It is the molecule of motivation, of drive, of anticipation. It doesn't just signal reward, it teaches our brain what is worth working for. These dopamine surges light up critical neural pathways, particularly the mesolimbic pathway, reinforcing the very circuits that build resilience. It's a biological signal that says, "This was difficult but it was worth it, remember this, do it again." This process is not just about feeling good for a moment, it's about fundamentally reshaping our brain's architecture, strengthening the connections that allow us to face future adversity with greater confidence and capability. Each conquered obstacle becomes a layer of psychological armor, forged in the fires of voluntary hardship. We learn at a cellular level that we are capable of enduring and overcoming. Consider the primal act of climbing toward a peak. Each step is an effort. Muscles burn, lungs ache for air, and the mind must remain focused and disciplined. This is a state of productive struggle. Then, upon reaching the summit, the world opens up below, and a profound sense of accomplishment washes over you. That feeling is the tangible result of dopamine flooding your system. The struggle gives the reward its meaning. Overcoming the physical obstacles feels biologically rewarding because our bodies and brains co-evolved for precisely this kind of effortful engagement with the world. This principle extends far beyond mountaineering. It's present in the final, grueling mile of a marathon, the mastery of a difficult piece of music after weeks of practice, or the quiet satisfaction of building something with your own hands. Our physiology is designed to derive its deepest sense of well-being not from passive consumption, but from active, effortful creation and exploration. We are hardwired to find meaning in the struggle. But what happens when this ancient reward system is placed in a modern world saturated with effortless pleasures? As psychiatrist Dr. Anna Lembke meticulously explains in her groundbreaking book, Dopamine Nation, we are now living in an environment of unprecedented access to high-reward, high-dopamine stimuli, ultra-processed foods, endless novelty on social media, streaming services, online shopping, gaming. They all offer a potent dopamine hit with little to no prerequisite effort. This constant overstimulation of our reward pathways creates a dangerous imbalance. Lemke uses the metaphor of a pleasure-pain balance. Every time we indulge in an intense, easy pleasure, our brain works to restore homeostasis by tipping the scale toward the side of pain, resulting in feelings of anxiety, irritability, and craving. With chronic exposure, our baseline level of contentment drops lower and lower. Eventually, this can lead to a state of anhedonia, a clinical inability to feel pleasure from anything, as the activities that once brought joy no longer register on our blunted dopamine receptors. The very things we use to feel good end up making us feel worse. This modern predicament is a direct result of an evolutionary mismatch. Our brains and bodies were forged over hundreds of thousands of years in environments of scarcity and constant unpredictable challenge. For our ancestors, survival depended on a robust dopamine-driven motivation to hunt, gather, build shelter, and escape predators. Dopamine was the neurochemical engine of survival, pushing them to endure hardship for the promise of a life-sustaining reward. Today, we inhabit a world of radical abundance and convenience. The survival problems our brains evolved to solve have been largely engineered away. Yet we still carry the same ancient operating system. This creates a profound mismatch. Our brains, wired for a demanding life, are now swimming in a sea of comfort and easy gratification. The system designed to motivate us to overcome real-world challenges is now being hijacked by artificial stimuli that provide the reward without the requisite effort. leaving our innate need for meaningful struggle profoundly unmet. The consequences of this mismatch are stark and increasingly visible. Our societal avoidance of discomfort, coupled with the relentless pursuit of easy dopamine, has helped fuel the staggering rise in anxiety, depression, and addiction that characterizes the 21st century. When we consistently sidestep difficulty, we fail to build the psychological muscle of resilience. Our tolerance for even minor stress plummets, making anxiety a chronic condition. When our dopamine baseline is chronically suppressed from overstimulation, the world can seem gray and meaningless, paving the way for depression. Addiction is the ultimate, tragic endpoint of this cycle, where the brain becomes pathologically rewired to pursue a single source of artificial pleasure above all else, above health, relationships, and survival itself. The path forward, then, is not to eliminate pleasure, but to recalibrate our relationship with it. It requires a conscious, deliberate re-engagement with meaningful, effortful challenges, choosing the hike over the hyperlink, the conversation over the notification, the struggle over the shortcut. By understanding the ancient wiring of our minds, we can learn to navigate the modern world, and in doing so, reclaim our capacity for genuine, hard-won well-being. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and neurologist, stands as a profound testament to the resilience of the human spirit. His experience during the Holocaust, one of history's darkest chapters, became the crucible in which his most influential ideas were forged. He showed how meaning can arise even in the most terrible, unimaginable suffering. Stripped of everything, his family, his possessions, his identity reduced to a number, Frankl was subjected to the daily horrors of starvation, disease, and brutal labor. Yet, amidst this profound despair, he made a critical observation as a psychiatrist. He noticed that the prisoners who were most likely to survive were not necessarily the physically strongest, but those who held on to a sense of purpose. They had a why that fueled their will to live, a loved one to reunite with, an unfinished work to complete, a faith to uphold. This future-oriented goal gave them a reason to endure the unbearable how of their present reality. He distilled these life-altering insights into his seminal book, Man's Search for Meaning. It's more than a memoir, it's a foundational text of logotherapy, the school of psychotherapy he founded. In its pages, Frankl argues that our primary drive in life is not pleasure as Freud maintained or power as Adler believed, but the discovery and pursuit of what we personally find meaningful. He posits that this purpose can be found even, and perhaps especially, through suffering. Frankl outlined three primary avenues to discovering this meaning. The first is through creating a work or doing a deed, by dedicating ourselves to a project or a cause that is larger than ourselves. The second is by experiencing something or encountering someone, through the beauty of nature, the power of art, or the transformative depth of love. But it is the third path that speaks most directly to our theme, the attitude we choose to take toward unavoidable suffering. Frankl famously wrote that the last of the human freedoms is the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. This principle is not confined to the extremes of human experience. It resonates in the fabric of our everyday lives. Often we discover our deepest purpose not when life is easy, but precisely when we are forced to confront its inherent difficulties. It is by facing challenges rather than avoiding them that we are compelled to dig deeper, to question our values, and to find a strength we never knew we possessed. Adversity strips away the superficial, leaving us with the raw, essential core of who we are and what we stand for. In recent memory, no event has tested this principle on a global scale quite like the COVID-19 pandemic. It arrived as a sudden collective trauma, grinding the world to a halt and plunging us into a state of profound uncertainty. The familiar rhythms of life were shattered. The pandemic became a modern, real-time test of our collective resilience and our capacity for adaptation in the face of a shared threat. The isolation of lockdowns, the anxiety of economic instability, and the ever-present fear of illness created a landscape of suffering. Yet, within this shared adversity, countless individuals and communities began their own search for meaning. For some, it was a quiet, internal journey. Stripped of commutes and social obligations, people rediscovered simple joys, baking bread, planting gardens, or reconnecting with family through video calls. They reevaluated careers that left them unfulfilled and began to prioritize well-being over relentless productivity. But the search for purpose also manifested outwardly in a powerful surge of community spirit. Simple acts of care became profound expressions of our shared humanity. We saw neighbors organizing to deliver groceries to the elderly and vulnerable. We saw the rise of mutual aid networks where strangers supported each other with resources and emotional support. The nightly applause for healthcare workers was more than just noise. It was a collective acknowledgement of sacrifice and a shared sense of gratitude. These powerful examples of collective resilience demonstrated that even when physically distant, we could find purpose in coming together to care for one another. In the heart of ancient Athens, amidst the bustling agora, a new philosophy was born. On a painted porch, the Stoa Poikile, Zeno of Citium began to teach a radical idea that would echo through millennia: Stoicism. Its central pillar is the dichotomy of control, a simple yet profound distinction between what we can influence and what we cannot. We cannot control the winds of fortune, the opinions of others, or the frailties of our own bodies, but we can, with absolute authority, control our own minds, our judgments, our responses, our will. This is our inner citadel, the one fortress that can never be breached from the outside. By focusing our energy solely on this domain, we cease to be victims of circumstance and become architects of our own peace. This powerful idea attracted people from all walks of life, from Epictetus, a man who endured the horrors of slavery, to Seneca, a wealthy statesman, and even to the most powerful man in the world, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Each found in Stoicism a practical guide for living a virtuous and meaningful life, regardless of their external station. Their wisdom is not lost to time. It survives in powerful texts like Seneca's Letters, Epictetus's Enchiridion, and the private journal of an emperor, Meditations. These ancient Stoic texts emphasize cultivating inner virtue over external goods. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues as the only true goods: wisdom, to navigate life's complexities; justice, to act with fairness towards others; courage, to face adversity without flinching; and temperance, to master our own desires. They also taught a radical acceptance of impermanence. Everything we hold dear is temporary, borrowed from fortune. Our relationships, our achievements, our very lives are in constant flux. To fight this is to invite suffering. The Stoic practices acceptance, not with resignation, but with a clear-eyed understanding of nature's course. They practiced the premeditation of evils, imagining the loss of what they valued not to be morbid, but to appreciate it more fully in the present and to be prepared should it pass. Centuries later, in a world shaken by scientific discovery and waning religious faith, another profound philosophical current emerged: existentialism. If the Stoics found order in the cosmos, the existentialists confronted a universe that was silent, indifferent, and without inherent meaning. At the forefront of this movement was the brilliant and provocative Friedrich Nietzsche. His declaration that God is dead was not a cry of triumph, but a stark diagnosis of a new human condition. Without a divine blueprint for morality and purpose, humanity was set adrift. This, for Nietzsche, was both a terrifying crisis and a magnificent opportunity. He challenges us to confront suffering and create personal meaning. In this void, we are radically free. Free to become the creators of our own values, the artists of our own lives. This is the path of the overman. Not a tyrant, but a self-mastered individual who overcomes the despair of meaninglessness by forging their own purpose. And here, Nietzsche offers a concept that resonates with Stoic acceptance, but elevates it to a passionate affirmation. Amor fati, love your fate, asks us to embrace whatever life brings, not merely endure it. It is a powerful call to want nothing to be different, not in the past, not in the future, not for all eternity. Every joy, every sorrow, every mistake, every triumph, all of it is a central thread in the unique tapestry of your existence. To wish any of it away would be to unravel who you are. This is the ultimate form of resilience. It transforms every obstacle into a stepping stone and reframes every wound as a source of wisdom. It is the mindset that allows one to look back on their life's journey with all its treacherous climbs and stunning vistas and say, yes, again. This brings us to one of Nietzsche's most famous and often misunderstood declarations: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This is not a simple cliché. It is the core of this transformative worldview. The struggle is not something to be avoided, it is the very process that forges us. Like a muscle that grows only when tested, our spirit gains its strength, its depth, and its beauty from the resistance it overcomes. Whether through the Stoics' disciplined acceptance or the existentialists' creative rebellion, These philosophies teach us that suffering is not the end of the story, it is the raw, powerful, and inescapable material from which we build a meaningful life. We call this the hedonic treadmill. We keep chasing more, but happiness quickly wears off. Like a hamster wheel, our pursuit becomes circular. More consumption, no lasting satisfaction. True contentment comes when we stop chasing and turn inward, finding meaning in simple presence. Real happiness grows from engagement with what matters, not from constant acquisition. The worst things in my life never happened.